July 2020 Grand Finalists, the August Mini-Major champions, will face off against one of the biggest names and two, at least, of the most talented players ever to be seen in this game. This is going to be a roller coaster ride, so hold on to your hats. We've got some bands raining in thick and fast, and it's going to be Thatcher and Montagna going by the wayside to begin with.
Right, here we are then. Roll up for this one. If you haven't sent out a mass text all across WhatsApp to all of your friends that enjoy Siege, and even the ones that don't, telling them that this game's about to kick off, what are you doing? This is going to be a sickening match. And as the bands are coming out, we can already see the style again that this is shaping up to be. Thatcher, Monty, Echo, and Mirror all taken out of commission as we go into our opening round of Oregon. The Liquid Lunatics, the Blue Army, will be on the attacking side to kick us off. Meanwhile, on defense, we have the Ninjas themselves. NIP. Can they get themselves a solid opening round? Who's going to come out on top here to kick us off, Tim? Because this first round means so much between two ginormous teams like this.
I've just flipped a coin 3 times, Jackie. I thought we'll do it as a best of 3. We'll see who's going to win. It's the only way that we can make a prediction here. It's the only way we can realistically decide who's got any sort of advantage between these two giants of Siege. And you're not going to believe this, Jackie. I'm going to give you the results. It landed on its head, Joel, 3 times.
It makes
sense.
That's
how tight this is. Even the coin knows. Even the coin knows.
I'm sure that coin was probably shivering, terrified at the idea of how much energy there is in this game. And I tell you what, the chat seems quite energetic as well, as we've had a poll go down. And it seems like there is 64% in favor of Team Liquid winning here on Oregon. It is their map pick. It does make sense, but there's 33% of people that also are backing NIP, Tim.
I'm having to wonder, Jackie, at this stage, and I'm not making any accusations, but I'm wondering how much influence Jen has had over that poll, because I can't find 65% of confidence for either of these two teams. So I think there's a lot of Liquid diehard fans voting in that one, because this is certainly closer than any 33% chance for NIP.
Oh, yeah. I mean, to be fair, we all know that Jenna is a massive NIP stan. It's all she talks about on Twitter. She's always wearing NIP jerseys, so I don't see why she would be voting for Liquid, Tim. That wouldn't make any sense.
No sense whatsoever, but what's making sense so far is the Sledgehammer smashing open those barricades, and early aggression coming out from Team Liquid here. Palu just checking the angles, looking to see if he can find a nice entry frag. He's going to be droning Nesk in. Plenty of information raining into the Asher's ears here, just trying to give that information, make sure that the top floor is clear and the ground floor clearance is underway. We can see Sexy Cake is miles away up at the top of the big tower there, looking to move through rear stage, no doubt, and apply some pressure. And that's one of the keys to this site, is to attack from multiple angles. We saw it yesterday. If you have anything that is too one-dimensional, it's generally reasonably easy to shut down. So good to see so far from Team Liquid that they are spreading themselves across the map, and it's going to be multiple avenues of attack coming in on this one.
Sexy. Starting to roam his way in immediately, back over the rear stage, tearing his way through the soft wall as well, so the angle is open in case there's any possibility of someone hitting him with a flank. He'll be prepared for that. He can't have eyes in the back of his head, but he can at least prepare himself in case he is challenged from the rear. Drone goes down the stairway as well, spots out a little bit at the back of Jaeger, but Psycho will be able to reposition. He'll take it down and restrict their info for at least a few more seconds. Liquid, at this point, you've got 1 minute and 18 seconds left to make your move into the site and get an opening frag on the board. NIP are playing very defensive heavy into the round, Tim, turtling up and not looking to give the game away early.
I'm like what I'm seeing from NIP, though. They're challenging all entrances here, making it very difficult for Team Liquid to feel any sort of confidence moving in, I am sure. Very difficult for them to get any ground. It's just like this. It's just sort of jab, 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 just moving out. Couple of shots, bit of damage, dip back in, keep yourself alive. And that is working wonders for them right now. 45 seconds and Team Liquid, it's time to start applying some pressure. And that's exactly what Moringa's going to do. He's got himself up on the boxes. He's got a line of sight through into the laundry. He will do some damage. Pino able able to juice himself back up though. Kamikaze opens us up with a big kill onto Palu. That is going to be the sledge off the board, and there goes a second with Pino shutting down Sexy. That is now 3 versus 5. Pino able to dip away on the dock and just juice himself back up once more, and right now NIP, they are slaying on the server as Pino Ringer gets one for himself. It's surely going to be impactless, and that's exactly how it follows. Kamikaze and Psycho, they managed to shut out the round, and that is a great first defense from NIP.
A big opening round. Solid stuff from the ninjas there. When it comes to the basement blunders, there was none. They looked very drilled. They lock it down. They hit the shots. And they play a very solid defense game to pick up the opening round. Liquid going to be a bit sore with Road Rash off the back of that one. But of course, it's early doors. It's only the opening round. You can reset yourself. And here's a bit of a change as well. Julio making the switch over onto Clash. In terms of obviously what you have to actually counter that, you do have a Zofia and an Ashe, but he's not sticking to his guns, Tim. Well, more sticking to his shield. Instead, he's thrown that to the wayside and picked up the Goyo.
And what's he got on the Goyo, Jackie? What has he got?
He's got a bit of nitro, mate.
Exactly. Julio on the nitro. How many vertical nitro kills did we see from this man back in stage 1?
Too many.
One after another after another. The one that sticks with me, it wasn't vertical, it was Valkyrie out of the construction window on Clubhouse and just launched the nitro in through the CCTV window and took down a double kill to win them the map. And then if you remember, loaded into Cafe, so that's the final round of Clubhouse. He wins the map with a double nitro kill, loads into Cafe, and then hits a double nitro vertical kill on the first round. It's just ridiculous, his ability with the C4s, and playing in dorms here, the likelihood is that he's going to try at some point to get underneath, potentially where you've got Pino right now. Underneath him is Classroom. If you can get in and around there when they're trying to breach that closet wall, again, you can have an absolute field day, but I'm sure that Team Liquid will be very alert to that potential danger.
Round 2 then. As we start to get back into the commotion. Got a bit of Nest Cam for now, and I'm glad we do. He can be a real pain in the backside when it comes to his entry fragging potential. He is fast, he is furious, he is quite a lot like Vin Diesel, Tim. It really does pack a punch when it comes to getting those early frags to shut down the opposing side, and that's just what Team Liquid need. You want your players like Nesk and Palu to be on point into these early rounds to get that momentum back in your favour. Momentum that has been quelled so far, of course, by the hard reinforcements that are up, but luckily it is the main man Maverick coming over in the form of Sexy Cake that will start to tear these walls down and give them another point of attack.
Nice and clinical there from Team Liquid. Less than a minute into the round and they have full access to Attic. They can start looking to push in there and apply some pressure to the defenders who will be on the other side of that area, I am certain, with a deployable shield no doubt set up in front of them. Although I'm not sure if that is actually the case or not. Sometimes it is just a little higher up on that little raised platform just in front of the single window. So I'm sure we will see that whether it's in place or not as the round progresses. But NIP, they will look to hold on to the Attic for as long as possible, while Team Liquid, they will rotate around, try to take control over the armory and trophy room area now, and then they can look to push in and get a plant down, generally speaking, in and around the games room area.
Timing wise, we're looking at 1 minute and 15 on the clock. No casualties yet. But a good amount of map control that has been asserted here by Team Liquid. They're really turning this one into a fairly sticky predicament when it comes down to the late round. And Moringa, he could make the floor a bit sticky if he can spill some blood here. They have retreated back, though, realising the risk they run of staying true to their guns close by that hard reinforcement that's got a massive hole burnt into it, because they could end up with a couple of holes in them if they dilly-dally. And dilly-dallying is not what Liquid can afford to do going forward, Tim. We're down to 45 seconds on the clock. There still hasn't been an entry frag yet. This could be an all-out 5 versus 5 brawl when push comes to shove on the site.
The issue for Team Liquid here is whilst they've made good progress, they've got good control over the map, they haven't got any access to site yet. 30 seconds left to go and still a lot of work to be done. Sexy Cake is still opening up the reinforcements into the game room. They're going to have no choice. Once this wall is dropped and access is gained, they're just going to have to go straight in and start trying to get a diffuser down. And with 5 NIP players still on the board, that's not going to be easy. Things will get a little bit simpler as Sexy Cake manages to take down Kamikaze for the opener. Nades go out, and that's going to allow access now into the the plant spot. Sexy Cake moves in, 4 seconds left to go. He has absolutely no choice, but look underneath him. Pino is there with the Nitro. Surely that's a denial, and that will close the round. Well played, NIP. Team Liquid, as much map control as they had, they were not in control of the ground floor, and it cost them. I called it earlier coming into the round, Jackie. I said that was one of the danger areas, particularly Classroom and the area surrounding it downstairs. Team Liquid have to have a hold in that. They cannot allow Pino underneath, as they did there. Great shutdown from NIP.
That's sick. That is really beautiful stuff, and it goes to show, be wary of the Nitro, because these men are very well versed in how to use it effectively. It's not just Julio that eats TNT for breakfast. Clearly, we have seen Pino have a spoonful of it, and he has unleashed some punishment onto him there. Second round in the bank for Nip on the defense. Solid start. This is the slightly stronger side of Oregon as well. This is where you want to make the majority of your rounds if you can, and capitalize on the fluidity of the defense. They have done so far. They picked up the first 2 on the spin for Team Liquid. Obviously, that is going to frustrate you a little bit. That's an annoying round to lose in that manner. That can be a bit of a tilter, Tim, if you have your legs blown off whilst you've got site control.
Oh, absolutely. No question about it. I mean, looking at the defense and the way things usually go on Oregon, we wouldn't be too surprised that NIP coming out with good wins on Dorms and on Laundry. That's generally par for the course, but this is now a pivotal side. Moving into round 3, taking on Meeting, it is not an easy defense. Generally speaking, the attackers, they are going to look to move in and get rear stage control. They'll open up that double wall, and then the default plant spot is just in front of it. So all they need to do is lock down that kitchen corridor and kill anybody who's playing directly in Meeting. And at that point, they've got access to their plant spot. It's reasonably a short process. You're looking at 2 or 3 steps essentially to get into that position. NIP, by contrast, they've got some difficult angles to try and play against. Once they get forced back into Meeting, they may be playing from the kitchen rotate, for example, or they'll try and keep a man, probably Julio, with the shotgun hard up against this rear stage. It gets really tough to keep yourself entrenched there.
Third round. Obviously, already suffering that early casualty could come back to bite NIP. This could be one of the rounds that does start to show Liquid are very effective at getting the early entries and building off the back of it. There hasn't been anything too wild, though, as a response from NIP, but they are set up to try and do something a bit cheeky if the opportunity presents itself. Obviously, Pino with a Valkyrie cam by the window with a barricade, mostly broken, so he can leap his way out if he wants to go for the wide swing and attempt the run out. But it's not looking tantalizing enough. It hasn't made him believe he can pull it off with success, so he doesn't run the risk. Already you're at a disadvantage. You don't want to give away a second frag for free, so they hold, and he'll rotate back round to assist his teammates towards the site. A pretty sight for Liquid, though, is the fact that they are making, again, quick work of these reinforced walls to get in towards this stage. Palu, though, has nearly been left rear-ended, Tim. He's taken a lot of damage there and is incredibly low at this point.
Oh, he's certainly been in a little fender bender there. There is absolutely no doubt, and he has come off worse for wear. Under 25 health now, and from the wrong gun. I know there's been a shotgun knocking about in the hands of Julio. He will find himself losing his life rapido if he tries to push in on the wrong angle. 5 versus 4, but the clock is once again becoming a factor for Team Liquid. This is what we saw last time around, leaving that execute quite late. Now, if they get moving in the next 15-20 seconds, that is not the end of the world. They will put shots onto Muzi, and we've got 2 players right up in the faces of Team Liquid to try and prevent that diffuser going down. Now, Julio's likely got a nitro in hand as well, so that is another factor to keep a close eye on for. It certainly is throwable from that range, and you can see the manpower that's being assigned to try to keep them out of the plant spot here. Pino will put a shot onto Palu. The headshot hardly necessary with his low HP, but nonetheless, he will take it off his shoulders. Nestor's damage as well. Sexy Cake gets into a position to get the diffuser down, and the cover is there, taking Julio out. 3 kills coming, quick succession. Team Liquid finish it off with the 4th from Moringa, and that is going to be round 3 on the tertiary site, going over to Team Liquid. An essential win for them in my books. The last thing they wanted was a clean sweep of defensive sites from NIP.
Big round to pick up. one that was needed at this point. You want to try and keep this game as close as physically possible. The last time these two teams obviously went up against each other in the BR6, it was literally neck and neck. It was draw and draw. So for this to at least get the game a bit closer goes to show that there is still a lot more fight left into Liquid in the early game. Now a 2-1 scoreline then. It felt like it could have been awkward, Tim. Pino from that position after we got the opening frag, I was worried they weren't going to leave themselves with enough time. Potentially, if we would have seen the denial on the diffuser, at that point, you really do run the risk of just getting timed out. But Liquid, they play with confidence, they push in, they clear their angles, they hit their shots, and they hit the mark right on the head, getting their first opening round into the game.
The cover for Sexy Cake planting there was absolutely phenomenal. As you saw, Julio had a tight angle onto that plant spot. You could clearly see the back of Sexy Cake. The denial was there to be made, but somebody had an even tighter angle onto him. I'm not sure who it was who picked Julio up, but they really had their teammates back, and that is not an easy angle to hold into that corner. And I don't know if Julio had his nitro left or not. Maybe that could have been an option rather than exposing himself. He could have thrown it up over the top of the bomb potentially. But honestly, I think it gets shot out of the air, Jackie. I think that is the level of cover that was on Sexy Cake at that point. I think they know that that was an option. And again, I just don't think there was anything that Julio could do.
No, it would have been hard. Like, best possible opportunity. He finds a way, maybe goes for just a wide swing and is able to deny the diffuser. But at that point, he's so exposed. They were at a bit of a disadvantage when it comes to manpower as well. So the outcome was always skewed in favour of Liquid once they had full control there towards rear stage. Do they have control of the game, though, off the back of that round? That's another question, and only they can give us an answer to it. As we are in round 4, 2 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock, all 10 alive so far, but that could change fairly soon as map control is being taken fast here. They're swarming their way in, looking to play off the back of the vertical angles as well. You send Palu up towards the second floor there with a big old sledgehammer, rip up the floorboards, peer your way down with the drone going in to give that reconnaissance over early. If there was a man for the job to get an opening pick from this position, he'd probably be the one you want.
I mean, I made the comment that Team Liquid had left the pushers in round 1 and 2 quite late in the round, and that's certainly not a negative on their part. That's a positive for NIP. That's just the brick wall that they are putting up. Team Liquid are playing aggressively. They are playing quickly, and they're moving into position very, very well and challenging NIP. NIP so far have just done a great job at, as I say, that sort of jab style of defense. Just move out, take a couple of pot shots back into safety. Pino pop shot onto the head of Sexy Cake and will pop it wide open as he takes the skull off the man and finds the opening frag once again. Pino having a great game so far on the dock. If he takes the damage, he just juices himself back up and gets right back into the fight. And we can see here a couple of rotations coming around. Moringa just looking to move down and assist Nesk with this clash. Now, Julio, historically, he is a shield player. We've seen it from him over the years, particularly when he was way back on the Black Dragons roster before they were picked up by NIP. Used to do some great blitz clearance of roamers, and he certainly has got the skills that are needed to keep him alive in the freezer there on the clash.
The round be ground to a halt, though, at this point. Pino trying to get the overheal off so he can take a little bit more damage. Basically trying to hold on to his fill-ins as it's all going to kick off, Tim. But his teeth have been shattered. The dentistry of NIP comes out, and it leaves us back into this point now. A 3 versus 4 into the round. It's looking a little bit awkward here for Liquid, especially as they're still losing more men. I say that, and there is only one left. It's Nesk on the Ash. Burnt up there, dropped out by Julio as it will zap him down. He's been tased. That's a shocking kill, Tim.
And a shocking pun to go along with it, Jackie. I'm going to hand you that one. But Liquid, no problem at all, Jackie. But Liquid, they handed the round over to NIP. They're just unable to find any crack in that defense whatsoever. NIP extremely solid there. And what a late round from Muzi. He really did lock it down with a couple of big kills there. I thought that the tide was turning when PSK made that drop. It was a really nice kill onto Pino on the dock. Just dropped his way in, and Death from above absolutely shut the man down. But nope. Muzi just stepped into the breach, got the 2 in laundry, and left Nesk all alone. And NIP find themselves 3-1 on the scoreboard.
This is a grandiose start for them, right? Like, if NIP wanted to come out and really show they mean business on their defense, this has been the way to do it. so far, they've had a lot of finesse when it comes into the late round site executes. That's where they're playing their best. That's where they're being able to hit their shots. Very effective at holding angles. The crossfires are clean. The teamwork's looking great. Unfortunately for Liquid, Tim, even when they have been able to secure the early entry frag, it's just not as cleanly cut as it normally feels like it is. They're a little bit slow to the burn right now, and that does need to change soon. Obviously, scoreline-wise, it's not too bad. As long as you get a bit more out of this on your attack, you can fairly comfortably move into your defense. Liquid are good on Oregon's defense. They have always been historically, so I wouldn't count them out there. I'm just worried if they don't get themselves a bit more of a buffer soon.
That's it, they could find this, you know, just being too far for them to bring back. But if anybody is capable, we know that it will be Team Liquid. And if you're a Team Liquid fan, don't panic just yet. They will, I'm sure, look much stronger when they get themselves onto the defense. As I've said already, it's not really anything that Team Liquid are doing wrong by my eyes. It's more that NIP have just got some great defenses here, able to turtle on site and just making themselves very, very difficult to move, just wedging themselves into position and just refusing to go anywhere. And importantly, they are hitting shots today, and that's always going to make it a difficult day against NIP when you've got players like Pino, like Muze, just absolutely going off. If you remember, Pino's entry stats for Stage 1 were absolutely ridiculous, Jackie.
Oh man, he was on another planet. The guy was quite literally on the moon with some of the shots he was hitting. It was astronomical. Every time we get to see him play, it was really, really exciting. And I feel like that's the sort of case we're going to have going down in a matchup like this. But you could also say the same about a certain man over on Team Liquid, Palu. He's a record holder in Siege, and for good reason. He is a fragging superstar. He's a rock'em sock'em robot when he walks out there, Tim, because he just knocks heads off 24/7.
He really does, and somebody's going to have to deal with Pino on the entry, because given the opportunity, he will continue to get those opening kills. 42 and 24 he was in Stage 1, as I say, plus 18 over the stage, and he just puts NIP on the front foot so often that something needs to be done about him. Now, as we can see, he's just dropped the hatch, and he's going to play underneath once again, and I think it's just a really nice time in the round for him to do that. Team Liquid, they seem to be confident that there's nobody downstairs. They've done the clearance. They're almost 2 minutes in. They sort of feel like, yep, that's fine. That's no problem. But obviously, Sexy Cake was shut down from underneath with that vertical nitro last time from Pino. He's once again managed to wriggle his way out of sight. He just drops the hatch into kitchen, and he's just there available then to move in and do the same once again. Team Liquid, I wouldn't expect them to suffer to it again. I can see Palu is downstairs in meeting. Is he aware of Pino? Is he going to move in to make that challenge and to prevent that vertical denial? Somebody is going to have to.
Dawn of the final 30 seconds then. This is where the impact needs to come out. It's a full 5-on-5. They run the risk of their execute being stopped by the fact that NIP, not only do they have manpower, they have the utility to really go for some ridiculous plays. Palu, though, starts to give them a bit of an edge when it comes to the firefights. PSK rocks up as well, but there's Julio doing what he does best, decimating them with a detonation as the nitro goes over and denies the diffuser going down. Nesk scrambles to attempt to replant it in the crossfire. PSK wide swings, backhands not one but two men, killing Kamikaze and Julio in one foul sweep as the Nomad has left them no chance in the round.
Great plays from Palu on the underneath there, really essential. I know Julio still managed to hit the nitro, and that's the problem of playing against NIP. You shut one down and there's another flying through a window to come at you, and Julio managed to find the spot. But Nesk looking alive, straight in there, diffuser in hand, and started planting it right in his teammate's position. But the play from Palu that I'm talking about was that recognition of Pino on the lower floor, and for me that's showing better adaptation for Team Liquid than it is for NIP. You've always got to be careful about trying to rinse and repeat something, especially something that has been so important within a round. So Pino completely won the round with that denial of the plant from Sexy Cake back in round number 2. He's tried to do exactly the same thing there. He hasn't adapted, but Team Liquid, they certainly did. Palu was watching underneath. That was the opening kill, and very nearly led to the successful plant. But Julio, he stepped into the breach and got the job done for his team, but ultimately, PSK with a great double at the end to shut things down.
Now the game is close. as close as it physically can be at a time like this. This is where it goes down to a question of Team Liquid. Can you split it straight down the middle? Can you end the first half 3 rounds a pop? I feel like it's the most likely outcome, Tim. From what we've seen historically between these two teams, when they go toe-to-toe in the middle of a cell, it is always them just equalizing the playing field round after round. It always feels like it's a metronome, right? It never really gets too far into one camp. It just sways back and forth, round by round, where they impress us time and time again.
Well, the thing is as well, and I agree with you in what you're saying there. I think there is a strong likelihood of this going 3-0 at the half. And the reason that I say that is NIP have been playing a defensive style. They've been playing it very well, but what they are doing is inviting pressure onto themselves. So by playing Turtle in Laundry in dorms, we've seen them jabbing at Team Liquid and really grinding them to a halt. But effectively, what they are doing is inviting usually about a minute and a half worth of pressure. And ultimately, a team like Team Liquid, they are going to start hitting those shots, as we've seen PSK coming in there with a couple. Palu getting himself, more aggressive and on the board. And as that starts to happen, those Turtle defenses, they will be broken down and they will be ground into dust very, very quickly. So NIP, for me, if they're going to make a change in round 6 here, which I doubt they will because it's the last defensive round, if they were going to make a change, need to get a little bit more aggressive, have 1 or 2 off site maybe, and just try to be unpredictable, try to hit them on the flanks rather than just keeping yourself alive for that vertical denial. Actually hassle them a little bit more rather than sitting in sight and inviting that pressure from Team Liquid.
Pressure's starting to mount though. Building, it's bubbling like some pasta that needs to come off the boil or it is going to be ruined, and that needs to change. That's what's got to happen. You've got to release some steam here, or Team Liquid might just detonate in your face. The side that has been detonating throughout the series so far, though, of course, is NIP. It seems like it isn't just Julio that is a don with the Nitro. The whole roster can really pack a punch with those C4 plays. They've certainly been quite cheeky, and this could be cheeky as well. We've got the setup coming out from Sexy Cake, of course, with Moringa backing him up. You take out the lower level with the hard breach. He'll then come in with a Zofia on the lifeline to completely tear down the rest of the wall and give them that entry point towards the site. They've attempted to open up 2 separate points here to have a bit of a crossfire and really plant seeds of doubt into the mind of NIP, so they're second guessing where the push is going to be coming from.
Moosey's holding a really tight angle onto PSK here, and I think as soon as the Nomad tries to push forward, he is going to come unstuck. I would be very surprised if he managed to hit shots onto the prone Moosey, and he's just going to wait his turn right there. He's not going to be baited into any sort of aggression I wouldn't have expected. Now, Moringa has taken a little bit of damage as well, and Team Liquid, they've got access to the sites, but unable to use it just yet. We can see Nesk, he's got himself an angle from the trophy room. Moosey, he's once again just slithering around on the floor of Attic there. Sexy Cake opens things up with a kill onto Kamikaze, and Moosey is just forced to drop away. Moringa, one onto Julio, and that movement was what cost Moosey there, moving away from his position of strength. Pino gets a couple in the round, but surely impactless as Ness gets 2 for himself, and that's Team Liquid leveling things up at the half, and as I said, just inviting too much pressure there, NIP.
And there we go. The prophecy has been fulfilled. It's been as close as it possibly can be. Split straight down the middle like a succulent watermelon, Tim. 3-3. This is the way the game has gone. And I can only imagine it's going to continue in this fashion. These two teams look so evenly matched. It's the mistakes of one giving opportunities to the other. In terms of the picks we got coming out into this round, though, fairly standardized, nothing ridiculous. Ace is going to get some limelight once again, of course, and this really does back up what we've been saying the whole time. It feels like Ace is by far the higher picked operator out of the 2 new ones that have come into the pool, with Malusi being in play. There's been a few instances of her coming out on Oregon, but they really have been few and far between. She seems way more effective on those close quarters maps where you can at least use her towards choke points. On Oregon, it's not the same sort of cloth that you got cut here. There's not as many situations where it feels like the Banshee's super strong because there is so many different points of attack.
That's exactly it. If you come into a problem, for example, on this site of Laundry, let's say you play a Banshee in Freezer and you play one in Bunker for construction, then the attacking team can push down Laundry stairs and rear stage stairs. There's just too many options to close them all off. So a little tricky for Malusi, as you say. She can be a little bit situational. That's what we've seen so far, at least, for her effectiveness. And the attacking teams have been reasonably able to deal with those gadgets as well, just taking them out with the utility more often than not. So Malusi, as you say, lower pick rate than Ace so far. Ace has been very, very consistently picked and ahead of Thermite as well, which is, Thermite, one of those real core operators. So to see somebody coming in and disrupting him, but it's absolutely no surprise with the, addition of A, being able to apply that gadget from range, B, being able to use it on utility. He's just more flexible and a lot would argue has a better weapon as well. So Ace, there's a lot of arguments for bringing him.
Oh, and come on, have you seen his outfit? He's a stylish looking guy, Tim. He takes after you.
Well, I think it's, Ace by name, Ace by nature, Jackie.
Oh, yeah. Well, Tim, smoke me a kipper. I'll be home in time for breakfast as we're heading into the 7th round here. 3 a pop so far as we do get the side half switched around, and we'll see where this is going to go. If this will be a following start from Team Liquid, continuing from their success previously, where they got obviously 2 in a row there. If they can try and add another one to that total tally, or if NIP will find themselves an entry frag. I'm glancing over at Muzi more than anyone. I feel like, of course, as we like to say, he is a bit of a human Uzi. This man can pop off. He can spray down so many people so quickly. He is fast when it comes to his own aggression. He's got a lot of confidence in himself, and he should do. He is an entry fragging machine. If we'll see that into this round is yet to be revealed. For Julio, though, of course, it's just a matter of heading over towards rear stage, opening up that hatch, introducing a little bit more vertical play into it, and giving them that avenue of access towards the site when push comes to shove.
The hatch will be dropped there. And as you say, Muse, a player that we saw great impact at the mini-major. He's looking to push onto those freezer stairs where he's going to come face-to-face with the clash of Sexy Cake. And I think that's being backed up by Moringa on the smoke as well. So it's not going to be an easy challenge for the Ash. He takes a little bit of damage there, dips away, but he's certainly keen for that fight, keeps pushing back in. The ADSs are there, but it looks like they've been burned at this point and will not be able to stop any more utility now. The hatch is still closed. Julio's going to start working on that. That is quite an essential part, really, because it really restricts the movement of the clash beyond that point. Once that hatch gets open, you tend to see the shield drop all the way back into the single doorway, but until that happens, Sexy Kate will be able to aggress all the way up to the stairs for the time being. But it looks like Sexy Kate, we've just seen drifting across us in front of us there on rear stage stairs, so has moved away to defend another area, which may just free them up to move into the freezer a little bit here.
Ooh, someone's saying freeze, and it's going to be PSK, as he has stopped Psycho dead in his tracks, but NIP start to pipe back up. The ninjas are launching out their throw-in stars, and they are connecting into the jugular of a few players on Liquid. Time slowing down as well. They've got 10 seconds to make this execute count on NIP, Tim. They need to get that diffuser cracked open on the site. Muzi, he's looking to make a mockery out of them, but he can't locate the diffuser. He cannot get over there in time, and this one is as good as done. Blocked by the clash. A perfect display of how effective you can be at just wasting time. And before they realized the time had ticked too far gone, it was already over.
Liquid for the first time then finding themselves with an advantage on the scoreboard, and that could be quite telling for them now that they're on the defense. They're heading up to dorms, and it would be another round that we would expect to go in their direction. So, if we continue that logic on, they've then got to go to the difficult third site. NIP could find themselves 5-4, but it then gives Liquid a run at Laundry and dorms again to finish this one off for a potential 7-4. There is still a lot of siege to be played before that point, but this round could be pivotal. If they can get this one on the board, then there is a clear path there in front of them for them to run it all the way home.
They want to grab onto this one, run home as fast as Charlie when he found that golden ticket in the gutter. Was it in the gutter?
No, or did he gets it out of a chocolate bar.
Did he? Oh yeah, no, that's it. He finds a $5 in the gutter, doesn't he? And then he goes into the shop and gets the chocolate bar that has the
you
ticket.
Must be talking new school.
I can't remember. They've all blurred into one.
I'm pure old school when it comes to that film. Definitely the older one for me. But then again, I'm the older one. So
that makes sense. If we had a dynamic, who would be Grandpa Joe and who would be Charlie? Would you be Grandpa?
Between the two of us?
Yeah.
I don't know, because I can be very excitable.
Yeah, that is true. I feel like I'd be the bad influence going, come on, Charlie, drink the floating bubble pop.
Yeah, definitely. That is the dynamic.
That does make sense.
You leading me down a road to destruction, Jackie.
Jackie, no, we can't go off on a tangent about bubble pop. Come on, Tim, have a sip.
Here we go. We've taken off. Look, see? I told you it all before. We've been kicked out.
Oh, it's all gone wrong. You get nothing. Good day, sir. But let's see who's going to get something out of the opening moments of this round. As for Team Liquid, they've already got a very tasty gobstopper in their mouths as it's brought them up to a 4th round, but they have been stopped dead in their tracks, Tim. Pino with the entry frag as he slaughters Moringa, cleaning house there, and that is a devastating opening pick. Look at the operator that's gone down. Smoke out of commission in seconds. That is going to hurt them late round.
It certainly is, as you say, one of those operators that gets more and more powerful as the round goes by. Saving those toxic babe canisters can burn the last 30 seconds. If you know where that push is coming from, you can completely shut down the lane with them. So big loss there with Pino coming in and starting things off right for NIP. 1 minute 45 left on the clock, so still plenty of time for those ninjas to start mounting the pressure here. They could just do, it feels like, with another frag in the next sort of 20 seconds to really cement that lead and start pushing, because this is a difficult site. Make no mistake about it, to get in and have a real impact. Now, that was very close from Kamikaze, just catching Nesk out on a rotate there, but Nesk, look, will hold out, and he will just manage to find his way into the back of sight, but shut down by the Kali there. Psycho finishes him off with the machine pistol, and that is going to be 5 versus 3. That is the frag that I was talking about that NIP really needed. Kamikaze has the diffuser in hand on the ace, and he is now poised and looking at the potential of getting himself into a default plant spotter, but a little bit more pressure could do with being applied to Palu here, because that is exactly what he is going to do if left unchecked in Attic. He will take you down, and Kamikaze it is who feels his wrath.
Man, Palu bending bullets like his favourite movie's Wanted with the way he's playing right now. And he is most wanted in the server, as he could single-handedly cause some devastation in the nation into this round. PSK wants an opportunity to present some damage though, and he'll come out strong, massacring Muzi and leaving NIP in a 3 versus 3. Psycho on the Kali. Can he get anything going here? Switches from the sniper to the SMG as we switch back to Pino's POV. He's the one casting out a very wide rod as he hits the connection there onto Palu. Hook, line, and sinker. Gives them an entry into the round, Tim, and they run away with it both hands here. PSK in the 1v1. Oh no, can he pick it up? He's just got to stay alive. 6 seconds as the push comes around. Julio in close contact, finds the frag, picks him off in the last possible second there on the Maverick, and seals the deal.
More rounds like that, please. That is exactly what we came for. Kills raining in, back and forth. Pino having an absolute tear in that round, but then almost being shut down at the last second. Julio able to just get in and rescue the round for his team. But Palu in Attic was just allowed too much space, Jackie. There was a man back there that opened the wall, and I'm not saying you go headlong into a challenge against a player like Palu, because that is generally a death wish. But pop up, pop back down, jab, 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 as we've seen NIP doing so far. Take a few pot shots at him. Keep his attention on you. Stop him being able to look in, especially when the team comms are Kamikaze saying, I'm heading into game room for a plant. They know that that's happening at that point, so just be careful. Grab everybody's attention that you can. Try and take it away from your planter. Palu just allowed a little bit too much space and took full advantage of it, so great, full credit to Palu for knowing that he wasn't being pushed from Attic at that point and managed to shut the man down, and it came down to the wire. NIP able to limp over the line.
4 rounds to 4 rounds. The game is close. The game is spicy. And boy, is it hot, Tim. This one is really starting to show that it is a bit of a barn burner. Now, for anyone that is watching this, if you haven't already removed your socks, I recommend you do so soon, or you run the risk of having them blown off with the quality of Siege that we are witnessing tonight. This is a banging game, Tim. We were hyping up the opening one. We said this could be the gem of the evening, and Oregon is truly living up to that.
Oh, it's becoming a serious safety hazard at this point, Jackie. As you say, there could be, burns to the legs and ankles quite easily as those socks go flying.
Oh, mate, genuinely, it is not worth it. Do not run the risk. Take them off now. Prepare yourself so you don't lose them. Just put them in the laundry basket and continue watching.
Give the toes a wiggle, get some fresh air going, and sit back and enjoy as you put your feet up and watch Team Liquid versus NIP as they duel it out 8 rounds in, and we are absolutely none the wiser about which way this is going. Both teams coming in and taking at times surprising rounds away from each other. Team Liquid unable to hold on to their first defensive domes where we thought they really might be able to lock it down and propel themselves towards the win, but NIP absolutely not. They're having none of it and they live to fight another day. 4 apiece now on the scoreboard, and this one could be rattling very quickly like the old shaky train towards a 12th round finish.
We've just got over the 2-minute mark. Liquid on their defense. Taking a bit of damage. Nesk backstabbed there. As he takes a bit of a hit, he realizes he needs to reposition and moves away from the open angle towards the window, hunkering down and staying alive for now. And staying alive is the key for everyone here. So we have 10 players alive at this point as we've just reached 1 minute and 30 left. Muzi trying to push up, sneaking suspicion on the close angle there, thinking there might have been a second ADS, but it is clear. Chucks out the follow-up concussion just to make sure of that fact, and he now knows he has his avenue of attack open for him. He is an entry fragging machine, and he needs to prove that into a round like this. We have to see vintage Muzi on display. He's got to come in and rinse him on the contact hit.
Esk manages to keep himself alive. It's something he's got a serious knack of doing. His survival stat is always way above everybody else's, or at least almost always. He's usually alive at the end of at least 50% of rounds. That is just an absolutely insane figure when you think about it, playing at this sort of level. Ness just has a sort of a game sense on another level, really, as to when danger is mounting for him now. NIP, the drones, they are raining in, gathering information, pinging out the locations of all of those defenders, and the push is going to have to come soon. 30 seconds left to go. Moringa, he's deploying that noxious gas and just trying to hold them at bay. He's managed to keep himself alive later in the round, and Domes is a very difficult push to make when you've still got 5 defenders on the board. That will make things a little bit easier. Psycho comes in, going mental, and takes down PSK. That is now 5 versus 4. Palu, however, levels it up with a trade onto Psycho. Muzi rushing into sight, getting aggressive. We've got kills raining in both directions. Ultimately, it's NIP that come out the victors, though. Muzi and Julio once again locking things down for their team, and that was the moment, Jackie. That's what you've been hoping for from Muzi, the human Uzi.
The man hits him with a Beretta spray down, get down and stay down. That's what he's saying as he teaches him a lesson with a slay down, Tim. Clean stuff from Muzi. The man pops off, absolutely annihilates him there. He was always an entry fragging machine, and I'm glad we got to see those antics. Consistent through the mid-round and into the late round. Pays dividends there for NIP. And once again, they snatch the crown back from Liquid here on Oregon. It's now a 5-4 split with the way the game has gone, and it is looking hella competitive. Liquid, what's your answer? What's your response? They are going to make a change. Sexy Cake going for the 6th pick. He'll be moving from Goyo to Clash. Not too surprising. You think about Sexy's playstyle, he loves a good shield user. Very effective with it. He can be such a pain in the backside. It is incredible how effective he can be at wasting time on those operators. So I respect it. I feel like it could be a good move because they need to slow down NIP. If you can starve them out, leave them in uncomfortable territory when push comes to shove in the late round, that's where you're going to find success here, Tim. And that's what they need to do. Don't give away those early frags. Don't give them that initial lead. And whatever PSK's doing, whatever he's been, keep on feeding it because the man is just crushing them. 11 frags to his name. The next closest on the scoreboard over the course of the server, of course, is Pino with 10.
I think the answer is, Jackie, that he's not had anything for breakfast, he's not had anything for lunch, and they're just starving him up, keeping him hungry, and telling him that he gets to eat once he's put 15 to 20 kills down. So he's coming through trying to make sure that his dinner's on the table when this one is done. And right now, if he continues like that and Liquid could get a win on the board, it will be steak all day long for him.
All right, well, here we go. Ready to rumble once again. The gloves are off, and they are back in the ringer for another round as the bell will chime. Let's see who's going to get that early entry frag. Sexy Cake holding for the initial drone as he'll hear it coming. Shatters that one like an old iPod, leaving it broken on the ground. sets himself up, prepped with a shield to see if they will try and push in off the back of it. Rest of the unit effectively grouped up, rocking a buddy system, turtling towards the site. Doesn't look like Liquid are going for an early confidence peak. We're not seeing anything crazy from Nesk or Palu. Those would probably have been the two I would have been looking at here based off the operator picks to try and make some early round noise, but they are playing quite quietly into this one. Just standard stuff, clearing out any drones that could have got into any crevices and setting up towards the stairway. You love to see this as well. Palu on support with Moringa, of course. A smoke on that angle, Tim, you can effectively deny any kind of push down the stairs.
Very difficult to move into, as you say. Out comes Big Papa Pump, that shotgun, and will just put people down one after another into early graves. But it looks like NIP largely forgoing Freezer, and it is an area that I was going to pick up on and say that last time I feel like they just got stalled out a little bit. They had the shield in there of Sexy Cake, and they just weren't able to really make any progress. Now, it looks like Pino as a token, he's playing out over that way, but other than that, they don't seem to be aggressing towards it in any great fashion, and the pressure is seriously mounting from the rear stage area rather than Freezer, and potentially over to the laundry side as well. And right now, if they can leave the one man there and bait a couple of the defenders into Freezer, it might just give them the room that they need. But this is going to be a tough site to take away from Liquid. There is absolutely no two ways about that. Round 7, they came away successful here, and they're obviously confident at being able to do that again and to square things away on the scoreboard and guarantee us all 12 rounds.
Nesk. Look at this man, licking his lips, ready for an entry frag if they want to offer one to him. The drones go whizzing by, but there is one on the close angle. Try to spot him out if he overextends slightly further past the shield. He won't. He will still hold. They group up, now looking to go in together. All of this comes down to timing and execution. There's the ADS on the wall to stop, obviously, the Ash being able to get too much extra out of it. Just the concussions go in, but he realizes he runs the risk of being forced out of position here as she can now switch to a breaching tool, so he backs off, and they are breaching the defense of NIP though, shattering their skulls quite literally, Tim, and Pino, he's getting slapped up by electricity. All the volts going through his veins, and it's not looking good. It hasn't sparked some sort of comeback for NIP, as they have 10 seconds to get onto site, get the diffuser down, and make a mockery out of Liquid, and they've made out of them. The clash holding the angle effectively denies the round in my eyes. I don't feel like anything good is going to come out of this. Kamikaze's being sapped up. You can try and plant it. All you've got to do is switch over to the SMG, shut him down, Palu with the final kill onto Pino, and that's the way it's going to go.
No way that was happening with Sexy Cake stood in the corner with that big piece of perspex in front of him, just holding down the angle, unable to get in and get a diffuser down, because as soon as you do, you know that the challenge is coming in. Palu picks up the one man, and then Sexy Cake just drops the shield, switches to the pistol, and hits the planter, finishing the round off 5-0. And you wanted it, Jackie. I wanted it, and everybody at home wanted it. And we are being graced with 12 rounds in the first map here between Team Liquid and NIP on Oregon. This is going the distance guaranteed, and only one of these teams is now going to get an opportunity to win this matchup, and they will only get one bite at that cherry. Whoever wins the round here, they will get the opportunity at map point. So this is just as important as the 12th round itself.
Oh, they played themselves as well, Tim. They've been baited in. We've seen the 6-pick come out from Sexy, going off of Clash onto a Malusi. Obviously, they've read that. They've panicked a little bit about what this could be, thinking that maybe he's just gone back onto Clash. And we see Julio donning Cali, coming out with a sniper with a hell of a scope, but that's not going to help you too much. Yeah, you might be able to find those entry frags. You can poke the bear a little bit with it if you can do some damage with a bolt action, but you're not going to be knocking any shields up, Tim, as there is none in play.
I think you're absolutely right. I think that is a bit of a bait there. They know that the clash has been a problem previously, so let's bring along the Kali. We've spoken about the Kali before and how you can just unlimitedly essentially take on that shield and just knock it away. There is, absolutely no holds barred essentially, where the Zephyr is limited in terms of being able to do so. The Kali can just remove it one after another after another.
Ooh, unfortunately, it does look like we have had a bit of a disconnect with the server. So we are going to be cutting back to camera for this one. Hopefully, I don't know, either the server's gone down, Tim, and this will be a rehost, or it might have been the feed that's crashed. We'll find out as soon as possible. I don't know what it is about these games. The ones that leave us sat there biting our nails, we always get rused with.
They're always the ones where the lampoon comes in and the game goes down and we're left guessing. We will get the information to you as soon as we can, as soon as we know what's going on. Fingers crossed the game will be halted for whatever reason. Obviously, we're not going to do that through choice. If the game is continuing, the players will play out the round at least. But, if it is a server-wide issue, think we possibly have the footage back, Jackie.
Yeah.
We'll give it a second before we head back in. There we go. We're just getting it live for you now, and we can see we have got one kill has gone down onto Nesk, so you've missed very little there. That is the opener for NIP. In comes another. They know that the man is there. Muzi shuts down Parlu. Find ourselves 3 versus 5 very quickly, and that is 2 men for Liquid now missing. NIP, it looks like they could be the ones to move in and get the opportunity here, Jackie. They've been caught out off-site, but that will now allow NIP to start building forward and thinking about getting a diffuser on the ground.
All right, well, here we go. At least we haven't missed too much in the grand scheme of the rounds. But for Liquid, they're missing out on a chance of getting to 6 first, because that is the scary factor, right? Both of you need to make it to a position to get a 6th round on the board if you want to guarantee a draw, or you need to win both of the remaining rounds back-to-back to secure a victory. The last time they faced off, it was a 6-6 finish. I wouldn't be surprised if it ended within that region once again, with the game going down to the wire. NIP, huge entry fags here to play with, way better than it has been into the prior rounds. You've got the early picks. You can just play that sustainable game, keep the ball rolling, and get yourselves into a position to lock this down now. 40 seconds left as we see the 3 Liquid Lunatics holding and waiting for the close contact. Moringa looking for information. PSK, the man that's been really popping off with the side of Liquid, just waiting for the oncoming onslaught. NIP, they're wasting no time here. They're making full use of the clock before they execute him.
I just love the speed of thought from these players. Sexy Cake there, fully recognising that the drone had not seen him, but unfortunately he doesn't see Julio. He moves through, he dips left, gets 1, dips right, gets 2, and that is Moringa gone off the board as well. Now 5 versus 1. Kamikaze getting that diffuser down, shut down by Julio. We questioned the Carly pick, but he made it work, Jackie. Julio found a way, as he always does, coming in with a big sniper rifle, finish there, and that is going to be the round, and map point opportunity going to NIP.
Oh man, the signature snipe down as he smashes open the end of the round and puts them in a position where they could win this. They very well could actually walk away with a victory on Oregon against Team Liquid. That is what is on the cusp for NIP, but on the flip side of things for Liquid, this is where you've got the pressure all mounted on you. Your backs are against the wall. If you mess up now, you lose 7-5. If you can show you've got that resilience to at least keep it close, Tim, there could be a draw between these two teams on the first map. We could have it go 6-6. In terms of the 6 picks, we have a move over off the mute onto the smoke, and we also have Cali coming out once again with Julio donning it.
We're heading into an unknown quantity now for round 12. Team Liquid going to be heading to Kitchen and Dining. It's a site that we've not seen them defend so far, and it's no surprises to see them here, Jackie. They can't go back to Laundry because they won that in round 10, so that effectively locked it out for the remainder of the game. They've failed to hold defences anywhere else. Dorms, they've lost twice. Not a good idea to go back up there. I can understand them not wanting to go back to meeting. NIP just rolled over them with a flawless round there. So Dining was likely the only option. Now, we can see in terms of the setup, there's quite a bit of utility being applied to the upstairs by the looks of things. So that's going to be the Malusi and the Wamai just trying to hold things down up there. PSK and Palu are going to be very important to this defense. They need to hold on to Dorms for as long as possible. It gives some real vertical angles down onto site now. Muzi, he's going in at speed here potentially to put a challenge onto them, and he's got the ectoplasm skin there. Can he put some spooks onto them here and just terrify them as he moves in to get those entry frags?
Is it going to be a Ghostbusters-esque situation? Can he bust his way into the site and prove that busting makes him feel good to get the entry frag into this round, Tim? 6-5, it all comes down to this. It's a massively important round. And we're seeing how it is going to develop. Muzi using the breaching tool, clearing out one of those soft walls so he has a little bit of room to play with. Right now, it is all 5 still alive. Muzi, he could be sideswiped or potentially shot through the floorboards as he bypasses 2 of them. This is going to put the fear into him. It will slow down his confidence now because he's restricted. He's in an angle where he knows if he pushes back, he's got to fight 1 man. If he doesn't get his way out quickly enough as well, he could be shot up through the floorboards and be left dead in his wake. It's a scary position to be in. We've got 1 minute and 40 seconds on the clock. NIP, they need to get an entry frag relatively soon. They have struggled when it comes to a late round against Liquid. That's where it's fallen apart. That's where it's not been clean. If they find themselves those early picks, they can steamroll over. The confidence comes back. But right now, it feels like they're playing the slow game. They're waiting for an extension to come around.
We can see one of the situations where Melusi can be very powerful. The Banshee gadget has been deployed upstairs. You've probably just seen it on the floor in front of us, directly in front of us. The blue lights there just signaling its presence, and they have been unable, NIP, to push past it at this point in time. They are very careful in order to not trigger the sound, not trigger the slowdown. Palu's going to open things up with 1 onto Psycho. And right now, NIP, they need to find a way. They need to deal with that Banshee because it is having a massive impact on them. I don't think Muzi, no, he doesn't have any breaching rounds left, so he can't use that. They don't have the utility in order to clear it out, and right now they just seem to be struggling around it, Jackie. There's no plan B for them. There's no second option. We've got Julio. He's going to take 1 down. Nesk, however, will get Pino. 5 versus 3, 5 versus 2 as he clears out Kamikaze with a headshot. Palu gets his second. That is 2 each for the dynamic duo. There is 1 left. It's all down to Muzi, shut down by Moringa, and that is going to be 6-0. Neither team can take the advantage on Oregon, and we will find ourselves going into the second map absolutely none the wiser as to who will come away with a majority of points between Team Liquid and NIP. But what an absolute showcase, a spectacle we have just witnessed, Jackie.
From a 5-5 scoreline, it's 2 flawless rounds. 1 for NIP and 1